Hi. Stir It Up. Okay, so it's a simple bass line. It's it's fun to play, I think. It's nice to play along with the song because it goes at a speed that once you've got the shapes under your fingers, you can play along because it's not anything complicated and it's not going too fast. And it's all about your timing being really good. So it's a really good exercise as well. So you can play along to the song, listen to the bass, and try and keep in time with it because when you got a simple bass line like this, it's all about the groove. It's all about staying in time. I mean, your timing being really bang, being exactly where it needs to be. So that's the sort of thing that you can really get out of it. I think that it's about your timing. Really, it's a very good exercise for that. Now, it's a simple song, like I said. It's just got three chords, hasn't it? A, D, and E. And on a bass, you're basically doing this. You're doing, we've got the root note of A and the major third. And you can think of these shapes, that shape, because when you go to the D chord, you're doing exactly that. You're doing root, major third, fifth. You've done these shapes before. This is an arpeggio of a major chord. It's three major chords. It's A. So we've got root of A, major third of A. It doesn't go up to the fifth. It goes up to the fourth and back to the major third. Going up to the fourth note, 1, 2, 3, 4, in a sort of anticipation of the chord to come, because the next chord to come is D. So we've got root, third, fourth, back to third, and then we've got our D chord. Root of D, major third, fifth, and then we got our E chord, in exactly the same shape as here. Yeah. So all you have to think of is have your hand in this shape, yeah, for those, as though you're going to play those shapes on each chord, and you'll be fine because then fingers 2 and 1 here, and then fingers 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4. Okay, so let's have a look at the intro. Is the same line as the choruses, yeah? And the verses are a different line, but all the same as each other. So we only have two bass lines here. We've got a bass line for the choruses, which is also the bass line for the intro, and we've got a bass line for the verses. And they're both these 2-bar figures, or these 2-bar bass lines, yeah? They carry on over, they state themselves within 2 bars, and then that's repeated. So that intro and chorus bass line, we got now the timing. Try and get the timing by listening to the song. Look at the tab, know where your fingers go, and then try and memorize that as soon as possible so that you don't have to look at the tab anymore. And first step always, I think, try and get the timing from listening. That's what you want to be able to do. That's a skill you want to be able to develop. Really important, because as a musician, what's it all about? It's about hearing. It's about what you hear. And then really, the writing it down and learning from writing it down. I mean, it's obviously a great thing, like being able to read language, but it's secondary in music. It's great that we can write it down, but if you can get the rhythm from hearing it, then you're really feeling it much more than if you're reading the rhythm. Of course, that's a good skill as well. And if we look at how to read the rhythm, let's do that. But I'm just saying, do try and get the feel, the timing from just listening. Now, looking at the tab as I am now, you can see obviously the tab and where to put your fingers, which numbers on the frets. But above you've got the standard notation, which is great because you can just read the rhythm of the standard notation. Now that first bar, yeah, we've got crotchet, so that's one beat. It's in 4/4, obviously. We've got, yeah, that first note is a crotchet, so that lasts for one beat. The second beat is split between a dotted quaver and a semiquaver. And the timing of that is like this: 1E and or I should say 2E and because we're on beat 2. 2E and So you got the beat is split into 4 sections. Da 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 da, yeah. Da 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 da. Those are your 16th notes. That's what semiquavers are. But the dotted quaver means that it covers three of the semiquavers, and then we've got semiquaver by itself at the end there. So that second beat, 2E and 2E and the sound of that. And after a while, you internalize that sound. You get the feel and the sound of that rhythm in your system, in your hands, in your muscle memory. And then when you see this in standard notation, written in standard notation, a dotted quaver and a semiquaver, you don't have to count it anymore. You don't have to go 2E and You just know, it's that rhythm. That's a sign for this. Yeah. So you start to be able to, a bit like reading a language, you don't look at the individual letters and words anymore unless you've never read the word before. You just see it as a whole, yeah? And so you will start to see this second beat of dotted dotted quaver and semiquaver. You'll start to see that as a whole, not have to think about it in pieces and then put it together. Of course, we have to do that at first, but yeah, if you do it for a while, if you practice at it, you'll just see that and realize and know that it's this rhythm. 2E and 2E and Okay, so far we've got this 1 and 2E and Now you'll notice that when I counted the first beat, I just went 1 and. I didn't go 1E and 2E and. I could do, and that's absolutely fine. It's just if I don't need to count all the 16th notes, I probably won't. I'll probably just make it easy on myself and just count the beat, maybe 1, 2E and I might just count the beat, like I just said 1 then, which is a crotchet, or I might count 1 and 2E and which I counted the 8th notes there, 1 and, yeah. Of course, when it gets to beat 2, and the beat is split into 16th notes, that's your smallest division. That's why I count it in 16th notes, because I need to know where those 16th notes are coming, because I've got 3 at first, 2E and then I've got 1, yeah? And then exactly that same rhythm happens in the second part of the bar. So we've got 1 and 2E and 3 and 4E and yeah? So that's pretty straightforward. 1 and 2E and 3 and 4E and I mean, it's pretty straightforward once you've got that idea of the dotted quaver and the semiquaver. Now, on to the next bar, and we've got so that we've got the first beat is split into quavers, 1 and then we've got that figure again, the dotted quaver and the semiquaver. So we've got 1 and 2E and 1 and 2E and yeah, 2E and then we've got a simple last part of the bar, 3 and 4 and, yeah, is that okay? So that whole phrase okay, that's it, and then it's exactly the same for the choruses, yeah, exactly the same. Yes, one thing I wanted to say about fingering. So this is a good shape to have your hand in. Yeah, this sort of one finger per fret thing. It'll do you very well for the shapes you have to make for this song. And first we've got second finger, first finger, second finger, first finger. Then we come to the D, second, first, fourth finger. Now here you've seen me go back to the second finger and then shift the second finger up for this E shape. That helps you to visualize, oh, I'm doing a D, then I'm doing an E, but you might want to, because it's quite big stretches going on, and then having to move this second finger quickly from the 5th fret to the 7th fret, you might want to do this. Second finger, first finger, fourth finger, first finger, fourth finger, first finger, fourth finger. Yeah, so those last 4 notes. First, fourth, first, fourth. So this will look like, that second bar would look like. Now it's really up to you. You know, there isn't a right and wrong. It's what makes it easier for you. Okay, so that's your bass line for the intro and for the choruses. And when it comes to the end of the song, it's just chorus after chorus, isn't it? So now we have the bass line for the verse. And the bass line for the verse is, in terms of timing, I would say simpler, because you've got this, the first beat is 1E and 1E and oh, and those dots, you'll see dots in the standard notation, dots below the notes. They mean a staccato note. So I should have gone da, 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 yeah, that. So I pluck the note, and then instead of keeping my finger on this string, I pretty much immediately release the pressure. I don't take it off the string, I keep it on the string, but I release the pressure so that the note is muted. So we've got 1E and then 2 and those 2 notes have dots below them as well, so they're staccato as well. Is like that. Come back. Okay, so we got 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2 and then you have exactly the same figure for the D chord in the second bar, but just on the next set of strings. Yeah, so we've got 1E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and that little sort of rectangle block that's resting on the third line up in the standard notation is a rest for 2 beats, meaning, you know, don't play any notes for the last 2 beats of each of the bars for the bass line in the verses. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now just one more thing to say, and it's about, we need those staccato notes. So like I said, whenever you're playing the staccato notes, pluck and then release the pressure on the string, but don't take the finger off. And there was something else I was going to say. Ah, yes, with your picking hand. Let me see if I'm in shot. I hope I haven't gone out of shot. Yes, with your... Okay, so with your picking hand, remember that rest stroke, meaning that when you pluck a string, I mean, you can't do it with the bass string because there isn't a string directly above it, but on any of these strings, the A, D or G string, when you pluck those strings, remember you're pulling your finger up and it's coming to rest on the string directly above. Yeah, and look, when I put my fingers on the strings to pull up, when I'm doing these rest strokes, I don't have my finger really, yeah, can you see that? I don't have my finger really dug into the string. I don't want a lot of my finger behind the string, otherwise it'll get caught. Yeah, I just want my finger, just the tip of my finger, pulling upwards, yeah? And you can see the angle of my hand as well. It's not like this, because if it's like this, well, I can do a free stroke, so called because I'm not coming to rest on another string. My finger ends up freely, yeah, in the air. I can do a free stroke, but you can hear I don't have much volume there and it's a bit scratchy with the nail. I want my hand to be in this position, and that'll help me do these rest strokes. It'll help me pull on the string and not have too much of the finger below the string, so that I won't get caught in the string. Yeah, my finger is at this angle, not this, because this is more likely to get then caught under the string. If it's like this, much less likely to get caught on the string, and makes it easier to just pull, yeah, sort of across and up the string, across and up, the finger going across and up and coming to rest on the string directly above. Yeah, so that's your rest stroke, yeah. And you can see when I'm doing these rest strokes, I'm resting my thumb. When I'm doing these rest strokes on the A string and the D string, the two middle strings, I'm resting my thumb on that low E string, and that's quite helpful because it mutes that low E string so that it doesn't ring out in sympathy with the other strings. When I'm doing that low E string, I'm just resting the side of my hand, the side of my thumb, on the body. Yeah, some people, when they play the low E string, they rest their thumb on the pick. Sorry, on the on the pickup. Yeah, and that's fine too. It's just a way of stabilizing the hand. You might do it like this, resting on the pick, or you might just rest the side of the thumb on the body. But of course, on the low E string, you can't do a rest stroke in the full sense because there's no string above it to come to rest on, but you can do the same sort of movement so that I've got my hand in the same angle. It's not like this, it's like this, and I'm pulling, yeah, pulling up and through. And in fact, your finger might actually come to rest on the body of the guitar. That's okay. And it may not, but just that angle of the hand and thinking of, yeah, just the tip of the finger touching the string. You don't want a lot of it underneath, yeah? So this angle helps not get caught in the strings and helps do that rest stroke. Okay, that's it. Okay, I hope that's okay. Enjoy the song.